Hello and welcome to My Body, My Power podcast, where we shine our light, claim our worth, and empower the next generation. I'm your host, Kristen Rubis, a heart-led entrepreneur, mentor, and the creator behind the My Body, My Power movement. Here, we uncover authenticity, celebrate self-expression, and create a life and career that lights up the world. Welcome, Goddess. Let's dive in. Hello, friends, and welcome to My Body, My Power podcast. I'm super excited and grateful to have Emma Heywood as my first interviewee. Yay, thank you, Emma. Welcome to My Body, My Power podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about yourself. Let's learn more about Emma.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to be the first guest, too. I feel very honored, so thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm Emma, and I know whenever I say, who am I? I'm many things, let's say. I'll start with the logistical things. I'm both Canadian and American, and originally from Montreal, and I grew up here in Olympia. So I feel like the Pacific Northwest is in my bones.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be an actress, so I'm a classically trained actress and stage performer, and that was kind of an old chapter of my life when I lived in Canada in my 20s. And now I am a clinical hypnotherapist. Specifically, the hypnotherapy I do is called rapid transformational therapy. So it's a very specific type of hypnotherapy. It's a regression hypnotherapy. So it uses hypnosis, it uses psychology, like cognitive behavioral therapy, neurolinguistic programming. So it's really like root cause deep hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And I've been doing this now for 4 years. I think it's 4 years I've been a hypnotherapist.
Great.
And I am based in Olympia, but I also mostly work online, so I'm able to travel a lot, which is beautiful. And so
Yes.
it's like many things. I'm the creative, I'm the healer, I'm the traveler, I'm the sister, daughter, friend, all of it.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. So tell us more about your hypnosis practice. And you just said you do individual clients and online stuff. Like what brought you to that work? And can you share a little more detail about your offerings?
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting because I have my own history of mental health issues from a very young age, from about 12. And I went through a lot of pain like depression, anxiety, PTSD in my early part of my life. And now I can really see that as I went through so much at a young age to kind of go through the wisdom, go through the lessons, go through the healing to arrive in what I'm doing now. I received a ton of therapy since I was like 15, talk therapy, spiritual therapy, somatic therapies, all of it. And I always knew that I wanted to get into wellness in some form. I didn't know what it was going to be. I was very much in my creativity, in my life as an actor, as a performer, but something inside was telling me I wasn't fully satisfied. And I was in my own therapy still, and I kept getting like a roadblock in my own therapy. And I said, I want something deeper. I want something deeper. And I was still on my healing journey, and I went deep and received hypnotherapy and had such a profound experience that I said, oh, this is it. And it was just this full body yes. It was this full body intuition. And my life changed very quickly. I've had a few moments in my life that just was like, poof, your life has changed. The whole trajectory of your life changed. And I kind of just decided this is what I'm meant to do. It just felt that intuition. And I got trained. I graduated. I moved country. I opened a business. I started traveling. My life has kind of completely changed in the last 4 years. Thank you.
Wow, that's an incredible journey. Good for you.
Thank you. And so I do.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I do mostly work one-on-one because it's a very deep therapy. Like I was saying, it's a root cause therapy to really go back and unlock our problems, our conditioning, our traumas, the behaviors we have in our lives. So it's a very intimate experience because we're going into your subconscious mind. So my specialty definitely is one-on-one, kind of like you would go to any therapist for. We're just doing it at a rapid rate because we're working with the subconscious. But I also am able to I do a lot of group sessions as well, group workshops around the world, because I also have that training as an actor. So I'm really comfortable in the ensemble and the group and leading
Nice.
groups in that way. But then I also just want more people to know about hypnosis. So I make hypnosis recordings. I specialize in making hypnosis recordings on different topics to help you rewire your subconscious mind, your limiting beliefs, your feelings, your behaviors, usually in 21 to 30 days. Because that's how we develop new habits. And habits, aren't just of action, but habits of thought, habits of feeling. So I like to have different offerings in my practice to support, we're all at different places. Some people aren't ready for that one-on-one deep work, but they're like, I want a hypnosis recording to make me feel lovable and worthy and confident.
Yes. Wonderful. Great. That's wonderful. And is that on your website? Are
Yes. So
those wonderful?
exactly. I call it my hypnosis treasure chest.
Oh,
Because
cool.
I think hypnosis is treasure. And I have 6 generic recordings. I'm adding 2 more soon. And also, along with the one-on-one therapy, I also can make people personal recordings that are like tailored to you. So you don't
Oh,
necessarily
beautiful.
need a one-on-one session, but if you're like, okay, Emma, I have these specific things I'm calling into my life. I had a client who we just did a recording, and she, in 6 months, got her dream job, her dream partner. She got pregnant. Like it was just like
Wow.
her dream house. Like it just all happened. I'm like,
That's
oh yeah,
awesome. This
hypnosis.
stuff really works.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
good for you. I mean, such a good feeling as a practitioner to experience that with your clients. I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
And it
good for
is about
you.
I mean, as much as things are about the outside, what I really support people with and am passionate about is helping people change their internal state.
Hmm.
The beliefs that we put on ourselves, the shoulds, the conditioning, the supposed to's, the rules, and just questioning it. Why do I believe this about myself? Where did it come
Hmm.
from? I was saying to you that, the number one core wound I work on with people is low self-worth. And this is, I work with people all over the world because it's Zoom. So up to 6
Yeah.
continents now. And this is like every age, gender, race, profession. It's low
Wow.
self-worth.
Wow.
And when we can really start to work through where it came from, when we examine, why do I feel unworthy in this? Where did I first hear that? What does this voice sound like? Because in my experience with people, most of the time, we're not born feeling unworthy or believing we're unworthy. It's
Yes.
along the way through our, conditioning, our family, society, that we develop these beliefs. And so just starting to really question, where did this voice come from? Is it really mine? Is this my truth, or is this my conditioning? Is this my truth, or is this what I've been through?
Beautiful. That sounds wonderful. I'm going to sign up for a session after this call. Well, and so what you had shared that you had some mental health issues, is that kind of what guided you towards this work? Or was there some other like pain or struggle that you have turned into a source of power or purpose for yourself?
Yeah. It's kind of a combination. So I battled like severe depression when I was really young. And it's interesting because it was one of the hardest times in my life.
Hmm.
And yet it also taught me that, in a way, it taught me how to build my self-worth, because I started to realize I get to make my own rules. I actually dropped out of high school because I just saw the BS of the world. I was like, I don't want a part of this. And I decided to do things my way. And even though I don't realize it in the moment, that was me having the confidence and worth to say, I don't have to follow the rules of everybody else. And I
Mm-hmm.
started taking classes online in the school district. I was the first person to ever start these online
Wow.
classes. I got a job. I was working. I was saving money. I was like, I am living life on my own terms, even through that pain. And so that
Wow.
really catapulted me to kind of going through my life and saying, I get to go to the beat of my own drum. And went through, more struggles, pain, traumas. But through the traumas I had been through, I really learned to that it's all really about getting to know yourself and meeting yourself
Hmm.
with vulnerability and honesty and intimacy, even when it's not comfortable. So everything I went through kind of catapulted me to that moment I was saying to you, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go become a hypnotherapist now. So it's not only my training that I received in the modality I use, but it's also just my life experience and wisdom and pain and moving through things, that I can be with a client now or be with someone and say, I know what it's like to be in those depths of hell and to come out
Yeah.
the other side.
And I think that's so potent and powerful. And like when I'm working with girls or with women in my body, my power programs, like it's kind of the same thing. Like I know what these teen girls are going through. I know what it's like for these women to have struggle and to have that commonality and just to have that connection through heart space and through heart and life experiences. It's super empowering to be in space together in those spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For when I tell my clients, I know what this feels like. I know this moment you're in, and I
Yes.
have, the wisdom I have, and then I have the, practical tools with hypnosis and all these other things to bring you and to know that none of us are perfect. It's like we're all on this healing journey, and maybe someone's a few steps on the ladder more, but we've been through all these steps to get to that step.
Yeah. I've heard we're perfect in our imperfections.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
that's it. I mean, I feel like that's almost sometimes more common than not is these differences and these things
Mhm,
that we like go through. It's like
mhm.
everybody's going through something. So to have
Oh,
those
really?
compassion, empathy pieces.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it in, the clients I work with, they say, these are my struggles and these are my desires. And I'm like, oh, everyone has very similar struggles and similar desires. We want,
Mm.
self-love and freedom and peace and fulfillment and joy, all these things. And we can have that. We just have
Hmm.
to like shed the things holding us back and know that we also can do that. We can shed the things as well. We just need that person sometimes to kind of help guide us
Hmm. Yeah. And that's you. And we're so glad.
there.
So, what piece of advice do you have for stepping into greater self worth and empowerment? Like, if somebody was a little intimidated to do a session, but like, what would be your just advice off your heart or your through your practice?
Mm. I always say your openness and willingness is the
Mm.
number one thing you need to say,
Hmm.
okay, I have these wounds, I have these limiting beliefs, I have this low worth, and I'm willing to look at it. That's the first step. And
Beautiful.
knowing that you don't have to do it alone. This is why I say to my clients, we're a team. We're a
Hmm.
team in session going through your mind to be detectives together to see where this came from. Because again, in my experience,
Mm.
those babies aren't born feeling unworthy.
Right.
So I'd say it's that willingness. And again, kind of what I was saying before is question, where did I first hear that voice? Who does that sound
Hmm.
like? Does that sound like a caregiver or a teacher or a peer? Somebody that said, you did this wrong or you're not good enough. And also
Hmm.
knowing a little bit about how the subconscious mind works. So once a belief is planted in the subconscious, it stays there. And the
Mm.
longer it's there, the harder it is to replace. And the reason we so often go to childhood is because we're in the same brain waves that we're in hypnosis, which means we're operating only from our subconscious. So something happens to us and it sticks inside of us. And, it's so often, it's not the event itself that affects us, but it's the meaning that we make from the event about ourselves.
Mm.
Even for example, mom and dad didn't show up to my sporting event. That must mean I'm not worthy of showing up for. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. Otherwise, they would be here. So we keep that belief, stuck inside. So one of the first steps is just the willingness to look at it and even poke hole. I always say poke holes in the beliefs. Where did it come from?
Oh,
What
yeah.
else does
Nice.
it sound like? Um, and then also knowing that repetition is the language of belief. So when we're
Mm.
starting to build a new beliefs of self-worth, is starting to feed yourself that new thought or that new suggestion. In hypnosis, I give you a suggestion because that suggestion or that thought, I am worthy, is going to make you feel something excited, happy, powerful. And that feeling creates that action in your life. Oh, I'm going to go
Mm.
take that risk. I'm going to do that thing, which creates the event. Oh, I got that job because I took the risk, because I felt good, because I told myself I was worthy, right? So
Yay.
it's this loop. So playing
Mm.
around with the suggestions and the repetition of it. And in the beginning, there often is resistance. I don't believe I'm worthy, even if I say it to myself. So 2 words I say to people is to say, I'm open and it's possible. I'm
Mm.
open to
Open
believing I'm
and it's
worthy.
possible.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
possible I can love myself. It's possible I'm worthy of this, whatever it may be. I'm open to it. And knowing that it's a journey. It's a journey. And everyone's journey is unique. But again, it's that honesty with self, that vulnerability, and to question where the unworthiness may come from, and knowing that we have the power. I mean, our brain, it's neuroplasticity. So that's why hypnosis is so effective. It's because we're dropping in to your subconscious mind where it's more open to receive the new suggestions. So we can receive a suggestion of I'm worthy, and then it's just kind of there. And then it's very subtle. You just go around in life and you're like, oh, I'm speaking up here and I'm doing this thing and da 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 da
Nice.
da.
Yeah.
Very effortless.
Wonderful. I just really appreciate the subtleties of everything that you're saying, because it can have extreme depth, but just even these subtle subconscious aspects of our mind and emotions and habits and things. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And also getting to know ourselves too. Like empowerment for one person is different than another. For one person, empowerment is speaking on a stage, and another person, it's holding that boundary in that conversation with a friend.
Beautiful.
So it's not judging what our worth is and what our empowerment is. And that's what I mean about getting to know ourselves and vulnerable with ourselves.
Yeah, beautiful. So what does my body, my power mean to you?
I love this question. And it's going to start with a story, actually, if that's okay.
Beautiful.
So my own kind of pain, traumas I had been through, I felt disconnected from my own power and my own body, that, someone, took advantage, and it felt like it wasn't mine. And what I learned was my body is always mine because it's mine. It's my home. So when I hear my body, especially for me as someone who's lived in multiple places, continues to travel, and I'm like always walking around like, oh, but my body is my home.
Thank you.
And my power, in my 20s, after I'd gone through some traumas and I was an actor, I became a burlesque performer for a few years.
Wow.
And part of the reason I did that was to get back into my body and to get
Yeah.
back into my power and to learn that, like, it's mine, and to
Beautiful.
be in touch with it again and express it the way I wanted to express it. And that it's all on my terms, that I get to share what I want to share and in the way I want to, and just to really get to know my body again, get to know my power again. And it doesn't have to be, that's my journey, but it doesn't have to be on a stage. It's any way you can connect to yourself again. And your power is my power is my energy. It's my essence. It's my voice. It's my laughter. It's the way I, can just hug myself or soothe myself. Like, it's my unique expression, and we were saying
Beautiful.
before, people have this fear of being different. I always say, we all have that same fear that we're different, which means we're actually all the same. We're all unique. We're all unique, but we're kind of all the same. And so, yeah, my body, my power is that reminder that no matter what that I've been through in my life, it is mine. My soul chose this body to experience this life, and might as well make it a good place to live and call home.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm glad that I'm going to be asking that with all of my interviewees,
Yeah.
and it'll just be so beautiful to just get all those different explanations and descriptions. Yeah. And how did you discover your unique gifts or message, and how are you using them to serve others? Is there other ways other than through your hypnosis practice that you're doing that?
Yeah, it's interesting. What I've learned over the past few years, having my practice, is how much my past as an actor and creative has helped me in my practice. Because as an actor, I mean, especially stage performer, it's very active listening. It's being connected to your intuition, empathy, compassion, my voice. So my recordings, I really take you on a journey and can really infuse the energy. So not just in the words, but in how I'm speaking them and in my voice. So I'd say I kind of have used my skill set for my whole life. And and we get to have that, right? Like I believe we're not ever just one thing. Like, I'm not just the hypnotherapist, or I'm not just the actor. I'm not just this. I get to be all of it.
That full expression.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Beautiful. And what does radical self-expression mean to you, and how has it played a role on your journey?
I think radical self-expression to me is basically doing what I want the way I want. And that I kind of I can't not. To me, radical self-expression is just tuning into yourself and your authenticity and saying F you to the world or society that has told you otherwise. And going to the beat of my own drum and knowing it's okay to, I can live my life in a different rhythm than a lot of people around me. And that's my expression. Even what I was saying before about burlesque, it's so much about what your unique self is and how you want to share it. And yeah, there might be certain ways, like you think of burlesque and you think, oh, kind of very sexy femme fatale. But I had an act where I was completely a clown. I was a clown
Wow.
just in my joy. And my mentor was like, joy is sexy. And so I'm like, yes, it
Wow,
is.
beautiful.
Right. And so radical self-expression is just tuning into me and how it wants to be shared, and continuing to get to know myself in every stage of my life. Because how I would define that 10 years ago is different than how I would define it now.
Could you say more on that? Or like, can you reflect back to what that might have meant 10 years ago?
Yeah, in my early 20s, I think it was more about what people wanted me to be. So you
Mm.
told me, oh, this is how I perceive you. Okay, then I have to be that. You see me this certain way, I'll get into that energy. And I can be a chameleon where be
Hmm.
who you want me to be. And I'd say over the past 5 years or so, it's been this shedding of, I don't need to be who you want me to be. I actually get to be all of me. And, as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, I was told in the beginning, like, you have to do it this way. And my whole body was like, no, I don't want to, because I can help everybody. I can help people with, empowerment and sexuality and self-worth. And then I also work with athletes and performers in their performance mindset.
Oh,
I can do
yeah.
it all because I am really good at it all and I'm passionate about it all. I have knowledge and wisdom of it all. And so I think radical self-expression for me now is just, I get to do it in the way I want to do it. And that's perfect. That's enough. And I don't have to listen to the outside voices and conditioning, which is so often, men telling you how to like do things and run a business and all that.
Yes. Good
Yeah.
for you. That's super empowering and inspiring. Thank you. That's amazing. So a different question, is there something that you never get asked that you wish someone would ask you?
I was thinking about that, and yeah, I was struggling with that because I'm like, I think I get asked good things. I'd say, I think a question which is fun is if I wasn't doing, like, I never get asked if you weren't doing this. And I say that because often people say, oh, you're doing what you're meant to do. I can feel like you are in your purpose, you are
Oh,
in
yeah.
alignment. And I always have a fantasy of like, if I wasn't doing this, if I could completely have a different life, what would it be? Two things come to mind. I would love to be a drummer. I've always wanted to be like a drummer in a rock band
Nice.
or a professional athlete, and like just like fighting. And I wish I like, from 5 years old was like that professional, like, committed in that way, or like, that kind of obsessive athlete or drummer where it's like you've done it since you were 3 and you're just a genius. I'm like, if I could read, I would so do that.
That's fun. Good for you. Actually, I was in a little pseudo cover band, rock band for a few years around COVID, and I was playing drums, and it was definitely a stretch for me, but super empowering, and just, you truly feel like a rock star when you're playing a drum kit. So yeah, you should just get yourself a kit and go for it.
That's been on my mind in the last year. I'm like, oh, just do it. Just get a drum set. Why not?
Just do it. I
Okay, cool.
started on an electric kit and it was like plastic. And then I got on a real kit and it's like, oh, you got to be on a real kit to really get it out.
Okay, I'm
So yeah,
taking this as my sign.
I was going to say, all right, here you go. That's yours from this podcast. That's your gift, is get yourself a drum set.
Love it.
And then
Love
you
it.
can come back and tell us all about it in another interview.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to share? I'm going to like pause, like I'm just going to pause right now for a moment. So I just went through, actually, let me just have a silence so that I can see it in the editing. Okay. So I think I asked all the questions. What was a defining moment in your life? A pain and struggle you've had that turned into power? Advice around self-worth? What does my body, my power mean? How did you discover your new gifts? Radical self-expression, and then something you never get asked. So we went through all of it. So just, I mean, it's only it'll probably be about a 20-minute interview, which I'm not attached to how long these are, as far as I don't really, but is there anything else that you want? Like, I can ask you now, like, how do we find you? And like, what are the things are you offering? And then you can share more. But is there anything else like that you would want to bring to this interview?
Maybe I can share a little bit about that. You don't need to know the how when in therapy, or like the therapy I do, and how much,
Okay.
or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say, like, if I was a new client coming into your practice, what might that look like?
Yeah.
And then you can share that. And then I'll ask, where can we find you, kind of thing. Okay. I'm going to do another pause, and then I'll just delete that chunk. Thank you, Emma, for all these amazing questions. And now if I was a brand new person coming in as a fresh new client, what would that look like?
Yeah.
Either in person or online, if you want to share if there's differences in those two experiences.
Great question. They are the same experience in terms of the journey we go on together.
Okay.
And as I always say, is that willingness and knowing that you don't need to know the answers. And where hypnotherapy and RTT hypnotherapy is different than other therapy is we get to go discover and be detectives together. So we usually have a starting point of a specific problem we want to focus on, to really understand the why, the root of the problem. Because so often in other therapy, we're always talking about the behavior and how we change the behavior. But what we have to do is see what the subconscious belief is that's driving the behavior, because that's how the behavior changes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we work together, we have what I call like a 3-week experience. It's a journey where we have a session where we can just get to know each other and get detail about what we're working on and really understand it, to know where we're going, to kind of examine the problem. But it's also a solution we're creating together. So I make you, this rewiring and hypnosis to call in this other side of the problem, this other side, of the new chapter in your life, the kind of ideal feelings and beliefs and behaviors you want to have. And so even in a session, you don't have to know anything. That's what I'm here for. And your subconscious mind guides us to where we need to go. So we get to go on this beautiful journey through kind of your life. Like often my clients will say it's like doing months or years of therapy in one session. So we're going back, we're understanding, we're releasing, we're reframing, and then we're rewiring in the new. And what's so beautiful is that we work together for 3 weeks. So as you're rewiring in the hypnosis recording, after a session, I'm your support system for 3 weeks. So you have me in your back pocket, your mentor, your support, to really bring you this kind of rapid shifts in your life. Because we go deep, we're going into the subconscious. So the greatest thing is you don't need to know the how. You just have to arrive open and willing to go on the journey with me.
Beautiful. And then would it be any different for us, because my body, my power spans on, 8 to 80-year-old they humans. And so we break our programming down 8 to 12-year-olds for tweens, 13 to 17-year-old for teens, and then 18 to 80-year-old for the adults. Are sessions different? Is there a different, quote unquote treatment plan, or different things with like youngers, kiddos, or teens versus adults?
They're slightly different. I have worked with teens as young as 13. I also talk with the parents as well. So I don't always have to do regression. I can also just do hypnosis rewiring, especially as young as like before 10. Usually there's no regression. Usually they just have something, a belief that they just need to listen to something and rewire. So about 15 and above, we can do regression already.
Okay.
But we also, if they're underage, talk to the parents. But I've worked with 13 to 80 actually. Yeah.
Okay. Great, because even just what you just said were just a limiting belief. And so just listening to a hypnosis rewiring that you would create for that belief, just
Exactly.
listening to that could be enough to shift the subconscious and then just support that person into shifting that belief.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay. Go, Emma. Good job. Well, and I really appreciate just your journey, and just that this is what you came to. You had I love how people just have their own session or they have their own experience and then it's life-changing and then they want to do that for other people. I mean, that's such a beautiful gift that you're giving to yourself and to the world, really.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank
So
you.
tell us more, tell our listeners, how do we find you? What are some upcoming events or projects? And any other words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Amazing. Yes, so everything is Emma Heywood Hypnosis. And Heywood is, I always say Hey, not Hay. So it's like, hey. So my website is emmaheywoodhypnosis.com. Social media at Emma Heywood Hypnosis, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I also, people are interested. I have just a free connection call. So if you go to my website, you can just book a free call, like a free discovery call, where if you have more questions about the specific therapy or how it could support you, what you're struggling with, I create that space just to kind of chat and see, and also make sure we're a good fit, if we work together one-on-one. So that's my one-on-one work. I often will host group sessions, either local or traveling wherever I go. Usually I'll just list them when they are coming up. I also have generic recordings. So if you're not ready for deeper one-on-one work, but you want a taste of hypnosis, it's on my website. You can just go to the store. And I'm actually going to be creating 2 new recordings for February. I
Wonderful. Oh,
love
great.
month. And
Yay.
one's going to be around attracting love and romance and partnership, because lately people have been coming to see me wanting to heal their relationship block and call in their ideal partner. So one recording will be about attracting love and partnership and romance. And then the other one is going to be more about that sexual empowerment and expression and safety in your body, safety in your sexuality, releasing shame and guilt and all of that. So there'll be another
Beautiful.
recording about that coming up.
Wonderful. Wow, I'm excited to head to your page and check out your website.
Yeah.
And any last words of wisdom for our listeners on our My Body, My Power podcast?
I would just say to fall in love with the journey. Often my clients will say, okay, I just need to be healed. And once I'm healed, it's good. And I just say, we're never going to be fully healed. We're not going to arrive at a finish line. Ta-da, we're healed. It's going to be a lifelong journey. And so the more we can fall in love with the journey and ourselves, and it's not about feeling perfect in every moment. It's about how we respond to ourselves and catch ourselves. And when we have a trigger, how can we look at it and say, where is this coming from? And how can I give love and compassion to that part of me that's feeling unseen or unsafe in any way? And how we can keep meeting ourselves in every moment of every day. So it's not about being perfect. It's about, just meeting ourselves and loving ourselves through the journey.
Whew, I got chills. You can't see. Well, I guess you can see on YouTube. That's awesome. Seriously, all over. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That was incredible.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Yes, thank you so much. This was really an amazing opportunity to meet you and just to learn more about your services. Thank you for who you are on the planet and supporting everyone. But obviously, we're focused on humans here for My Body, My Power. And so I'm really excited to be able to offer your resources. And I will add you to my resource page on my website just so that we can keep that collaboration connection going as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you, Emma Heywood. We're really grateful to have you on our show, and we look forward to connecting with you at another time. Thank you.
Happy New Moon.
Happy New Moon and Happy Lunar New Year. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you for joining me on this journey of empowerment and connection on the My Body, My Power podcast. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who inspires you. Together, we're creating a ripple effect of confidence, courage, and light. Until next time, Goddess, keep shining your power.